So, okay, we're going to do a little break up here and turn it over to Superintendent. So, Superintendent Dixon, if you need to stretch just a little bit, stand behind your chair, do a little stretch, but we've got you on. We're excited to have you.
All right. Let's just want to make sure Employer of the Month comes in. While my driver of slides is coming up, I'll make sure that we've got our Employee of the Month coming in. We went through those last items so quickly, ma'am, that we are just, it's okay. Everybody can just take a little bit of a brain break, just a little.
Well, we can start and stand this way.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Okay, this month I am so excited to introduce our Employees of the Month to you. This is the first time I can ever remember having 2 Employees of the Month at once, and we are excited to announce that our Employees of the Month are Claudio Duque and Tony Peterson. And I'm pretty sure that every board member has had a fabulous interaction with these 2 wonderful women. Claudio, are you here? Oh, come up to the table and sit next to Mr. Bartlett. Yes, we're going to do it up big today, ma'am. So it has been so fun to hear the things that people have to say about Claudio and Tony, and I just so fervently remember Lieutenant Governor Henderson, should I just say that right? Yes, Lieutenant Governor, came to swear in somebody, so new members, I guess, and I watched her walk out the door, and she turned around and came back in and stopped and talked to Claudio and just talked to her about the feeling that she had when she came in, how she felt so warm and welcomed. And for her to walk out the door and come back and make that effort, it just speaks volumes as to how people feel when they walk in the door. And there is nothing better than walking up to our front desk or seeing Tony or Claudio working down in the mail room, or just like they just do everything for everybody. They are all over the place. And you know, I want to just go back a little time in history, or a little, I guess that would be history, wouldn't it? Going back in time. So I'll go back in time. And I guess it was probably not quite 2 years ago. And prior to that time, we used to have every assistant in this office on a schedule, and they would just rotate through the front office. And it seemed fair, but it wasn't real efficient. People would just get started on a project. It would be their time to take over for a break or use their slot. And it just, we just thought about it. And I would credit Cammie Wilcox and those who convened with her to solve this problem, to say, why don't we have 2 permanent people? We always need help in the mailroom. We have an internal control that when we take in money, that we need somebody there to help with receipting. Like, we just had these various things that needed to happen in our office, and we decided to invest in 2 permanent positions, and it has made all the difference. I think we've only had a handful of times where people have filled in for Tony and Claudio, and Tony just happens to be on annual today. I think she's on vacation, which is Good for her, but bad for us that we can't see her in person. So there are so many kind things that people have said about these two, but just they really set the tone for the agency from the minute people walk in the door till the minute they leave. And I can't be more thrilled than to honor Claudio and Tony. Now we're adding something new this calendar year, or fiscal year rather. So starting July 1, we are adding an incentive award. We give people a fun water bottle that's kind of special and a certificate and all of those things. And then we give them 8 hours of OA time, and they don't always get to use it or choose not to use it because they're so busy. So we decided to add a little incentive award to the pot, which is exciting. So we're going back starting July 1. So that would include Jody Kaufman and Malia Height, and now Tony and Claudio. So just so heartfelt. Everybody loves these two women so deeply in this office, and we're happy to be able to honor them. So congratulations. See. Thank you, everyone. Claudio said to me today when I was talking to her, she said, I just love to work in a place where, I'll just summarize, basically that people are mission driven and they're doing very important work, and she wants to just be any little part of that that she can. And I think that speaks so highly of the work that they do. So congratulations and thank you, Claudio.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm honored to be part of this amazing team. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I want to also highlight an opportunity that Deputy Stallings and I had, and I'll get into the details a little bit, but I've just been thinking about how I feel every fall. When school starts up, there's such energy. I feel like I'm back to my teaching days where you're like gearing up and learning things all summer and thinking about preparing for your classroom. And that's how I felt coming back when I see kids at school. Although when you get stuck in a school zone, you suddenly remember there are all sorts of elements to the school year. But I love the complexity, the excitement, just the feel of going back to school. And when I know school is starting, I don't sleep well the night before. It's just all these years later still feel that way. So it's a time to refuel. And I'll just show you a snippet of what Deputy Stallings and I were able to experience recently. Oh, it's a strange thing to end on. Sorry about that. But yeah, so we had the opportunity to attend this great refueling flight, and it's the 151st Airborne refueling team. And they take this civil flight, or they just invite different government officials, and we were able to actually be at the tail end of the plane watching that happen. So there's a gentleman that almost has like a joystick to make that happen, and then there's two little pads side by side where you can view it, and that it looks like it's open, but it's really this window, and you just watch the precision. And I was also able to sit in the jump seat and take off. And I was so overwhelmed by all of the precision, the teamwork, the complexity of that flight. Everybody had a job of checking beforehand and during the flight, and everybody had a role to play. And there were so many things that went on. I just kept saying to Angie, this is just so reminiscent of the complexity of a school system. And I just could not help but reflect on even our portrait of a graduate and thinking about those who serve in the military. And we have one of the best examples in our own Scott Jones and Jared Felt. I mean, the qualities that these men bring of integrity and hard work and perseverance and empathy and just loyalty to country and being mission driven, all of those things. When I think about the purpose part of our map and think about how do those things play out and can they be taught. We certainly saw that in this flight and seeing everybody's role and their commitment to the overall mission. So it was an amazing experience. And the next part of this is that, so we were invited by Chief Master Sergeant, and he's now the State Command Chief of the Utah Air National Guard, Brian Garrett. And you have seen Brian, who's on the left of your picture. He has been to board meeting before when Ben Rasmussen brings forward the Purple Star Family Program and the support that we have for military children and spouses. And here's Brigadier General Daniel Boyack, who the very next day was named as the commander of the Utah Air National Guard. And he presented me on behalf of the board with his coin. And he talked to us about the symbolism of the Mountain West Militia and the actual elements to the coin. So I'll pass these around. And then also, so the one that he gave us is the one that's dark blue. And then Chief Master Sergeant Garrett gave the other one. So I'll pass those around that you can see them because they are on your behalf for the way that you and staff members support military spouses, military children. And we take the time in board meeting every year to honor Purple Star families. So thanks to Ben and his work, and to licensing for the ways that they have prioritized military spouse licensure as well. So that was an honor on your behalf, and just wanted to share that experience with you. I could spend hours on the details of the things that Angie and I learned, but it was a great experience, and just so thrilled to be able to be a part of that. So I'll move into the strategic plan update, which is part of my monthly report. And this time we're going to the goal of personalized learning. And remember that there are strategies under each one of these goals. So you can see strategy 4A there on building capacity of school personnel to advance these practices, and we do so through professional learning. So the two I want to highlight, the two actions are meaningful inclusion and surveys during parent conference series. We've talked last month a little bit about the meaningful inclusion conferences. And as part of the conference, where there were over 2,400 participants throughout the summer, there was a portrait of meaningful inclusion. So what does inclusion really look like? And that was introduced to the larger community, and they gave feedback. So those in our office, the leads of this project, gathered all of that feedback to then make changes or additions or substitutions into the document. Dr. Norman and I had the opportunity to attend Career Path High yesterday, where we saw inclusion in place. Every student there had an adult advocate, a plan to move forward, a very personalized plan for them to really walk away with a first credential when they leave high school, as connected to the Davis Tech Center. So seeing that inclusive environment was so wonderful. You could walk into a classroom and see a lot of adults being very attentive to the students. And we had student docents that spent the morning with us. And it was really powerful to hear and to see and to experience how they are involved in inclusive practices. And I credit Stacy Hutchins, their director, for the vision that she has to make that happen. The second part of that is a system of support by gathering feedback from parents. And there is a parent conference series that began on August 28th and is running through September 19th. And again, this is a way for us to collect feedback and surveys on what does meaningful inclusion look like. So I think we're reporting that maybe next month in board meeting, if I'm correct. I guess proper procedure, we will bring it to leadership to see if it applies to the agenda for October, but looking forward to the data that we got back from parents. The next strategy is looking at structures and supports that empower each student to leverage their unique assets to demonstrate the knowledge, skills, and dispositions that we see in the Portrait Graduate and competencies therein. So there have been a number of educators, including our staff members, that have been developing best practices, and a way to do that, they've created playing cards. And I've seen a number of programs where you just have, we call them playing cards, but they're just these very quick reference cards that teachers can use, educators can use, so that you're not digging through a lot of papers and research, but you've got them right there in hand. So those are available if you're interested in seeing those. And then again, just surveys that are trying to capture how are people feeling about Porch for Graduate, what are you doing in your LEA? And I talked a little bit about this last time, but and from last time, I had a couple of questions asked of me. What does that look like in our state? So the handout that you'll get, you'll be able to see this. You also gave feedback that you appreciated a handout of my remarks last month, so you'll be able to see all of the strategies. And then this part is on the handout, and this is looking at those LEAs who didn't reply to the survey, which is fine, those who have adopted the Porch for Graduate as outlined in our materials, those who have developed their own version, which is the majority, and that's what we were hoping to see, that that people do the work to get with their communities and say, what does it look like when students leave our system and our LEA? That is the preferred methodology for sure. And then there are a couple of who have just said we're not going down that road, which again, that is fine. And then we ask the same of our charters, and you can see the data here. So again, the majority are doing their own work, bringing people together to say, what should it look like when our students leave our system? And the conversation, the process is as powerful, if not more powerful, than the outcome. Moving on to 4C, this is looking at evidence, utilizing multiple points of evidence of learning in actual ways to foster meaningful, personalized, competency-based learning experiences. So we've had a lot of people say, in a number of arenas, we wish we had better ways to conduct formative assessment that are teacher-driven, not necessarily standardized, but just a toolkit that can help us know how to better determine how well students are doing. And then also, especially from the middle school, we've heard this from Vice Chair Hart and others about specific to middle school, they haven't found a lot of formative tools that they could use. So those who are working on these strategies have developed a formative assessment toolkit, and specifically for middle school. And we have links on our website that we can direct you to, and I don't think they're on a handout, but we can get those to you if you want to look further into the formative assessment work. You're going to hear more from Lindsay Henderson in a moment, so I will not steal any of her thunder, other than to say that we are getting a lot of national press for the work that we're doing in mathematics. And we've had this wonderful pilot going on to, again, use the formative assessments and the toolkit that Lindsay helped direct, but really looking at data as the new literacy. And what does that mean when we talk about data science? So you'll hear more from Lindsay, but we're getting national attention. Today there was a article released in 74. Is it 74? Just 74, right? Is it thus 74? And USA Today mentioned it this past week. So really getting a lot of attention for Utah standing out of getting higher proficiency rates in classrooms that have engaged in this pilot, as well as our NAEP score that stayed flat. So everybody's wanting to know what we're doing in mathematics, and you'll hear more about that from Lindsay. And then last but not least, the partnership that we've had with our Utah Technical Colleges and our system of higher education and workforce to align what does this look like. So one of the things we've been asked for time and time again is data, meaning how well are our kids doing? How do we know? How are they transitioning? How many are going to college? How are we doing in terms of enrolling kids in higher level courses like concurrent enrollment, IB, AP, and we have dashboards for all of those things. So we have a dashboard for early college and FAFSA. There's also a graduation credential focus group, so it was interesting to have that conversation on Rule 277-700 and think about the work that will be coming forward for you as a board to discuss and define about what does graduation really need to look like. We've had about 400 stakeholders so far working and talking about some preliminary work. And then last but not least, CTE enrollment. Remember that you've had a lot of data come to you over the past couple of years on completers and concentrators. And when students take more than their required CTE coursework, that they have a much higher percentage of graduation and completion of a certificate in college, at least further certificates and going on and completing college. So some really good data around that, and we wanted to be able to show that on a dashboard, and that will be forthcoming this winter before the first of next year. So some great work coming out of trying to be more transparent with our data. And I think and this is an example of enrollment in early college courses that I wanted to share with you. And with that drive-by of everything, personalized learning, I will end my remarks there. And I think that takes us to acknowledgement of student artwork. I jumped way down to the end. Did you like how I did that? I actually did. I was on a roll. Okay. And it's because I wanted to save the best for last with our artwork. I thought that would be such a great break going into standards and assessment and new employees. So if we could switch it up a little bit. And Michelle Watts, are you ready for new employees, or will it take you a bit to tee up? Have you got that, Ryan? Okay, Selena, thank you. I just love the artwork so much every time, and these are so fun. I just feel like it's a great way that you can all come and see the jokes before you take a little break. Selena, you ready? Selena, will you introduce yourself? I don't know that they have been able to hear from you before.
I think I'm on. Okay. All right, I'm Selena. I'm in HR, Selena Johansson, and I support USBE in HR. And then I'm going to be reviewing the new hires. We have a big group. This is through May through September of this year. So I will try to quickly get through them. So the first one we have is Maggie Cummings. She's an educational specialist. Her previous work was with Salt Lake City School District as a principal. Then we have Kelsey Grissman, an educational specialist, program improvement specialist, and she is continuing with USBE. She was a planning systems specialist previously. Then Julie Lundell, educational specialist. Her previous work was with Davis School District as a principal. Kelsey McKnight, executive secretary. She came from DHHS as with DCFS. Jeff Wilcox, fiscal monitor, previously with the 2nd District Court as a coordinator. Nicole Sanchez, student data privacy specialist. Her previous work was with Granite School District as a coach. Holly Koros, educational specialist from Granite School District as a teacher. Corey Starley, fiscal monitor, was with the state as a division of finance as a financial manager. April Painter, educational specialist from Davis School District as a teacher. Keisha Anderson, child nutrition specialist, previous Jordan School District as a dietitian. Navidya Murthy, research consultant 2. Dina Wicker, educational specialist from, I'm not quite sure how to say, Academy? Entheos, thank you, as a director. Lindsay Bard from Weber School District as a principal. Megan Carlisle, Salt Lake School District as a 5th grade teacher. Amy Fulmer, from Garfield's School District as a science teacher. Melinda Singh from the Salt Lake County Health Department as a dietitian. Jordan Green, researcher 2, from DHHS as a data steward. Katie Jones from Washington County School District as a coach. Then Riley Hogg, Raymond Central Schools, previous work with science teacher. Jamie Workman, Canyon School District, also as a coach. Brittany
On, and I have interacted with so many of these folks in the last month or so, and they are just ready to go and right on. And we had our truck extravaganza, our food truck extravaganza, in which means 3 trucks really, in August. And it's always so fun. We pretend that we do that for all of our new hires, but it's fun to be out in the parking lot and hanging out together and meeting new people and getting to know our new employees, and they're fabulous. We just are so lucky to get such great people. And then last but not least, we have 3 new team members of our arts team. So if you all will come up, and we're going to do something a little bit different this time. We're going to have all 3 of them share the student art. And Jamie, make sure that you share your fun fact. I think the board will be interested in your little fun fact that you shared, your factoid that you shared with me yesterday. Okay, Lori, are you going to start off?
I think I'm hot.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think I'm hot. Excuse me. The microphone is on. Yes. Okay, first faux pas. Hello, I'm Lori Bayevsky. I am your new Fine Arts and BTS coordinator. And I want to thank you, first of all, before I introduce the art, I want to thank you for just continued support in creating what you're seeing on the walls. And this is, of course, you know, just a small snippet of what has been built over the years. And in 15 years, I do also want to say that the state of Utah is a model. It's a national model. And as the superintendent was sharing around other areas, I think arts also is right there smack in the center of the spotlight. And when we talk about resiliency and when we talk about high impact practices, what you're seeing on the wall is a fragment of what this work is doing for our students around retention, health, and well-being. And so as I introduce the art and my colleagues here, we'll couple that with, you know, both going, you'll see the prompts in that the students received. And you'll notice that it both goes deep within the discipline of the art form, and also it hits on so many other subjects. And so what we're talking about is really a holistic education, which is what I've been listening to all day. And so without further ado, I get to introduce the Cedar Ridge Elementary art. And if you would look to the back of the wall, this is in Alpine School District, and Charlotte Hawkins is our Beverly Taylor Sorensen visual arts teacher at Cedar Ridge. And we have 2 pieces from Cedar Ridge. At the back wall is Properties of Change. And these are 5th grade paintings. And the students in 5th grade, what their prompt was to plan out and investigate the properties of paint, color, chemical reactions between variable substances. And the requirements of the painting was to also look at the exchange of the state of what happens within the matter of paint from liquid to solid, and how paint literally changes by combining 2 or more substances and observing the effects. So as you're looking at the back wall, think about these prompts that the students received. Can we create changes in the state of matter within art? Can we affect the state of the matter using different chemicals? What happens when we pour salt into the paint? What happens when we rub alcohol in the paint? Does paint dry and turn into something different? So as they were creating these, we chose the theme of our painting, an idea, to create an abstract painting using various paints and substances, and then wrote our ideas and thoughts within an artist statement. So you can see about 4 different disciplines involved in this really fun expression, this abstract expression. And then if you would turn your attention to these abstract, kind of Picasso-esque self-portraits, also from Alpine, also from Cedar Ridge. These are 6th grade self-portraits, and they're made on recycled cardboard. And the students wrote I am poems, describing things about themselves that people around them don't always know or always see. We use narrative text to describe ourselves and create a character. We then studied the work of the abstract artist Kimmy Cantrell, who is based in Atlanta, Georgia. We created abstract self-portraits inspired by Cantrell's ceramic faces using recycled cardboard and chalk pastel. And these were the prompts that these students received, these 6th graders. The very first one, which I think we can all relate to, who am I? Yeah? What does the average person not know about me? And the last one, what is really important or insightful about me? And you can see that expressed on the wall. So I'm going to turn the microphone now over to Jamie Workman, who is our Fine Arts and BTS specialist. Thank you.
No, you're. Oh, yeah. Hello, all. I am Jamie Workman, like Lori just said, and what the Superintendent Dickinson referred to is we were talking yesterday, and one of my students' pieces of artwork have actually hung up on these walls outside in a permanent installation here, and it is so amazing from a teacher's point of view to have those kids be able to have their artwork bought by this group of people. It's so amazing, and as an educator and as a teacher coming in to say that was my student's artwork is really powerful, so thank you for that. Yeah, it was the ski goggles. So if you were walking to Miss Dickinson's, that is one of the students I was happy to teach when I was teaching. So I am happy to introduce these wonderful sculptures. And they come from the Guadalupe School, 5th grade class. And this is Tracy Strauss, is the Beverly Taylor Sorensen teacher. And the students were inspired by computer packing materials, envisioned making large robots. They discussed the fact that art can be made out of almost anything, and that artists often make art from found objects and items others may consider junk. We look at the sculptures of Angela Hesteline Posey displayed in the National Zoo and talked about how she drew awareness to the problem of pollution in our oceans by making sculptures from 38,000 pounds of ocean debris that had washed up on beaches. Posey said of her sculptures, "We create sculptures that can teach people about the problem." Students assembled cast-off items and then painted the robots. They thought that perhaps they should be telling jokes. What a great idea. We looked up robot-themed jokes, and the students wrote a couple of their own. Thus, the interactive robot sculptures were born. And finally, on our new arts team is Liz Bunker, and she is the new K-12 arts specialist.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to present to you today. So if you'll look behind member Hymus, you'll see this amazing Beatrix Potter mural made by Collage, and that is a 1st grade project from Indian Hills Elementary School in Salt Lake City School District by art teacher Jennifer Scheel, who's one of the BTS visual art teachers. So her artist statement for this lovely collage is the 1st grade students at Indian Hills Elementary studied English author and illustrator Beatrix Potter. We learned about the life of Beatrix Potter, that she kept animals such as hedgehogs, rabbits, mice, etc., hidden in her bedroom. She would study these animals and learned how to draw them. Her most famous work was the book, The Tale of Peter Rabbit. The students then illustrated rabbits, created a background, and inserted their rabbits to make a beautiful Peter Rabbit mural. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome, team, and good to see you, Jamie. Paths cross in the most interesting ways.
That concludes my report, ma'am.
Thank you. We actually, board members and the public, have another piece of art to share with you. Board members had a retreat and they actually, Vice Chair Earl, would you like to describe this art for us, please? We can use the funds. Yes, I will. I haven't, oh, it's a mouse. There you go.
So this is a copy of a photo by Maynard Dixon, and you can, I think we did pretty good, to be honest with you. I'm not sure it was mentally healthy for all, but everyone did it. So, but anyways, and we had staff, whoever wanted to. Some people chose not to engage, but just in general, everybody had a piece of the image. We divided it up and then chose to put their unique spin on it or their colors or whatever, and this is what we ended up with. And I think it turned out okay. I think it's pretty good. I'm pretty impressed.
Yes.
So we'll find somewhere to locate that, maybe in our lunchroom or something. I don't know. Board Member Hymas wants to take it home to his wife. So
Yes.
anyway,
Yes.
so we thought we'd share that, and I think we're going to take a 5-minute break right now, and then start into standards and assessment. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.